Welcome, welcome, welcome to the Faceless podcast. I thought I wasn't really doing too much today, so I thought I'd come on and talk to y'all today and just talk about some random things that's actually going on in the world versus other things. So, the first thing I want to touch on is definitely the Kirk Franklin documentary. I watched it the other day and I cried like a baby. Like, it was so like much revelation I got from it personally, and just kind of him showing his authentic self, his trauma, his wounds, and what he'd been through. It was really, really sad, to see him be treated the way he was treated. And it makes you wonder about the trauma in a lot of Black families, that a lot of secrets, and a lot of conversations are not had, and, things like that. He really tried to make. Just let me do a backstory. So for anybody who hasn't watched it, it is about Kirk Franklin making an album. In the midst of him making this album, he is like almost trying to reconcile with his family. He hears a rumor about someone potentially being his dad. Spoiler alert. Someone potentially being his father, but the father he knew, the one that his mother told him, actually passed away a couple of years ago. And then he had to forgive that man, for not being there. And, he was laid to rest. He went to the funeral, all of the things. Come to find out, it's actually a different man who everyone was saying, well, maybe they're together because they were at a funeral. Kirk wasn't there. And the guy said, yeah, I used to be in a relationship with his mom, and that could potentially be my son. The man takes a paternity test. Kirk takes a paternity test. Paternity test comes back 99.8% that man is his father. So the previous man he knew as his father for 5 or 6 years actually was never his father. It's actually this man. The thing about this man is that this man looks like he comes from money. He looks like he has a nice home, a nice family, a nice wife, and that Kirk was homeless. I mean, he said he lived in his car. He had a really rough life. And, to know that his father was a block away the whole time, it really hurt him. And in addition to that, he calls his mom. He says he want to speak to her. She had to sign some waiver, I guess, because they were going to be on the show on YouTube. And he goes to the mom, he shows her the paperwork, and he asks her about it. And she doesn't believe it, she doesn't agree with it. There's not possible way that he could be the father of Kirk. So Kirk Franklin, who's a gospel artist, if you don't know, he goes and gets a second DNA test with this man, and it comes back again 99.98% that this man is his father. And the mother can still, in the midst of seeing the results, the man being there, she's there. For some reason, she could still not process or accept the fact that this man was actually his father. Which is so crazy because for all these years he thought someone else was his dad. So now having to process the trauma of going through this and recognizing that this man that he knew as a father was not his dad, I cried like a baby. I mean, boo-hoo crying, snot bubbles, everything, because I just couldn't believe it. And I know some people made a very good point about the power of trauma and not really processing what this woman may have felt. She may have felt embarrassed. She might feel ashamed. It's hard to process her pain when his pain was so evident in the YouTube video. It was only 35 minutes, but it was very sad. And towards the end, the father did say, like, whatever, Kirk wanted to do, if he wanted to have a relationship with him, he would go at his own pace, and that his door was always open. And even the part that I think really touched me was when Kirk was like, I just want to hug I just want to hug you. I know that might be strange. And he was like, no, no, it's okay. And he just embraced his son, and with Kirk he kept saying he was 53 years old, and just now finding out that this man is his father, has always been his father, and literally lived like a block or two, he said, from where his studio is. Just very sad, very disheartening, but it was a great watch. It does make you think about the trauma and how it affects the family. Um, his mom, it makes me wonder about her background and what she's been through to make her not be able to admit that. It also makes me wonder about his relationship with his aunt, who was another character in the show. I don't mean to say character like that, but a person in the show. And she was very aggressive with him. She was very dismissive of his feelings. And she was like, get your ass in the house, like very. I can't explain her personality because, like I said, we only seen a couple of clips of the mom and the aunt, but it almost felt like they were very. They didn't really respect him as a man. It kind of seemed like they kind of made him like a child, like a little boy. He said he started to feel like a little boy all over again, and that's how trauma could work a lot of the times when you're dealing with family trauma. You almost feel like a kid again. You almost feel like you go back to a place that God has delivered you from. You know that you're not this orphan, you're not abandoned, you're not rejected. But there are moments when you're dealing with these people that put you through these things where I believe the spirits on them people try to put you back in a place that God has delivered you from because they have not healed or they have not grown. So I would definitely suggest that everyone, please, dear ma'am, dear sir, go watch that. I think it was very powerful. I definitely feel like it's important that we get to a place of healing. I hope he always talks about his therapist, therapy, and especially as a black man, him enduring so much, knowing that his father was always around and that he could have had someone be there for him. You know what I mean? I think that that's the part that it really was sad. To be honest with you guys, it was. I cried. I'm not even finna lie. Like I cried real tears because I just could not even process and like I couldn't even empathize or sympathize with him because the pain that what he went through, it just felt so great. It felt so heavy, and it really made me wonder about the things that he may have not shown on the show, the things in the background, the things where he may have covered certain things to protect them people, like the conversations and etc. And then even him at the end in reconciliation with him and his son, and his son actually, um, being in a place where he and him don't even talk either. So it's like it's this generational pattern of just discord and trauma and hurts and pains, and it's hard to really process. Um, you know, I think it's hard to process what um he went through and how did it get to that point. You know what I mean? I think that that's the biggest part that I observed watching it. That's the biggest part that resonated and hit me the hardest. So I think that that's important. And I'm trying to find The Hire is Waiting with Tyler Perry and Crystal Renee Hazlitt so you guys can see what everybody's been talking about and actually hear it for yourself. The Kirk Franklin part was too long. It was 35 minutes. So obviously we couldn't watch that together. But the clip of him talking about women and black women dating is the part that I want to play. So let me just find it here and go from there. Let me see where he at. Hold on. Because I couldn't buy a car. But that's the same thing. Though. Yeah. Giving doesn't have a value. I think it was closer towards the end of their conversation. Let me see. Oh, black women are making a lot more money. Okay, here it is. All right, I found it for y'all. So this is. So I watched Crystal Hazlitt. Hazlitt. Renee Hazlitt. She is from Zatima. She is from Sisters. She's like a breakout star. She sings. She's an actress. She was a costume designer. Girl can dress. Very beautiful. She has her podcast, and her podcast is called Keep It Positive. So with Keep It Positive, she had Tyler Perry on, and anybody that knows me knows I like to watch the plays and the shows. I actually enjoy a lot of his stuff that he puts out. Everything do I watch? No, I'm not the consumer for everything, but a lot of it I do enjoy. So I went on social media as we all did, and I see Tyler Perry on there, and he's talking about black women, and people are like, he's telling black women to settle. Why is it always black women settling? So I want you guys to hear this for yourself and let me know what you think about what he said, and I'm going to let you guys know what I think, because I think sometimes it's better to hear it in real time and hear the whole thing and not just the clip. So let's go back and see what he's talking about.
My mother took me to church all the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I just saying it. Sorry, I was trying to make sure we got it from the beginning.
He heard it. Yeah. So from then on, it's like, okay, this prayer thing works. It works. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so she about to sing. I'm trying to fast forward it because I'm
from so many things, and it makes sense because of what church has become.
Sorry, he's talking about church. He's talking about prayer.
I literally told him, I said, Marquise, I was like, the pastor is not God. Mm-hmm. I was like, he's human.
Let me go back. I'm sorry, y'all. I missed it. Hold on.
What you been listening to?
Here it is.
To go higher.
Yeah.
And that's very
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's crazy.
I was probably had a dummy that night, so I gave super.
Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to find it.
He just hits you. You probably go to double bed until he was like.
All right, she's talking about her dating experiences.
Listen, a lot of women,
here we go.
Especially black women,
a lot of women, especially black women,
in our society right now, black women are making a lot more money for the most part than black men. Right? There are a lot of black men who are successful, but for the most part, black women are making money. So if you can find love, if that man works, at whatever job, and is a good man, and is good to you, and honors the house, and honors his wife, and does what he can, because his gift may not be your gift.
Exactly.
That is okay. That's not somebody who's beneath you.
Yeah.
That's somebody who came to love you at your worth, right?
Yeah.
And as long as he's secure in himself to know that, yep, she makes most of the money, all I can pay is the light bill. As long as she's comfortable enough to say, I'm going to cover the mortgage and all the other stuff, you can light bill, baby, you can take me to dinner every now and then. That is fine.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
But that's so hard for a lot of people to take in, because it means, no, I need somebody who's they need to make 5 times more, and I got to have. But don't keep your list, baby.
Yeah.
God bless you. Hope that. Don't keep your list. But when you talk about just someone to love you and support you, I know people whose men can't touch what they make. But when you see them together, that love, that support, that I got you, babe. It's a beautiful thing.
It is. Yeah. I remember when I was having a conversation with you, and I was going, I can admit that I had fallen under that. Like, okay, I actually may have misunderstood what meet me at my work meant. I thought meet me at my work was meet me at my network.
My network, right. No, not your network.
Right.
At least meet me at my network. Yeah,
okay.
That's the network. Yeah.
And I was talking to you, I was like, in time, I was like, this, and I've done this. And you're like, wait. Stop. He was like, don't make it about money. And this is when I was like, oh my gosh. Like, it was like it just went off, and I was like, I see what you're saying. You were like, Crystal, I used to do the same thing. I would like be doing all these things for someone or people around me. And I'm like, I'm not getting anything in return, And we fall into that sometimes. And he said, but then I thought about it. They can't do for me the way I do for you.
No.
It's just, like, they can't.
No.
When you explain it like that, if he is giving you all these other things, then that's something you work with. And I literally completely misconstrued what meet me in my work meant in that moment. But work is more than that.
Right.
That's when I was like, wow, like this is way deeper.
Yeah, you gotta remove the money from the situation because it's just gonna cloud it. And then you have your girlfriend or this friend there saying, hey, he's doing this, he ain't got that, he did. You don't understand the love that we have for each other, and that is what is important. And I'm telling you, there are some good men who can meet you at your net worth.
Yeah.
And if you can find a man who is secure enough within himself to stand in that space. Yeah. I'll tell you the story. Oprah tells a story about her and Stephen. They were in Hawaii, and she was walking, this was years ago, she walked in the store, he was behind her. And I'll tell you this story, because I was there for this one. We were coming out of the Color Purple premiere in New York, and it's Tina Turner, Oprah, me, Gail. We're all kidding in the car.
You just said that song was Tina
Well,
Turner.
listen, that's when I first knew. That's when I first knew something had shifted.
Okay, wow.
Because Oprah walks out and says, Oprah. Tina walks out and Tina. I go out and be Tyler. I go, oh. This is very early on. So they're pushing us into the limo, and I turned back.
I'm still here. Just have y'all listen.
Was pushing them out of the way.
Hey, friends.
That's a commercial. We're gonna mute that. Okay. So I could go back. So basically, he tells a story about Oprah and Stedman and how Stedman was okay and comfortable being in the background, even though Oprah is the star. She's the billionaire. Even though he's a successful businessman, he understands it's all about her. He watches her. He loves on her. And how a woman walked up to her and said, I watched him and how he loves you. And he's very protective over you. He's always watching and got your back. And what Tyler was saying is that's the kind of thing you want. You want someone who has your best interest in mind. So it came back on. Hold on.
And after she was leaving the store owner, older person said to her, listen, I watched that man, how he loves you. I watched that man, how his aura is all around you, making sure you're okay and safe. So Stephen does well in life.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But I don't know nobody doing well.
Nobody.
Money.
Yes.
Can't be about the money.
That was a good nugget that she.
So basically, there is a lot of riffraff, a lot of uproar on social media. And for this one, I wanted to watch it myself. So I watched from the beginning to the end to kind of understand how they got to that subject, what exactly was going on. How did they even get on that? And with her, she was more so talking about how she dates and how he gives her advice and, speaks into her life and how it's helped her to process in her own life, what she's looking for really and what she really needs. And, she really looks up to him, because she was his assistant and worked with him for a long time. And I think for me, I'm not going to say I'm conflicted. I'm not really conflicted. I feel like sometimes you have to discern if this advice is for you, right? Now, he's more so saying, and from what I gathered, he didn't say be with a broke man. He said that he has a good job, he's able to help out, but maybe he's just not as successful. So he used, Oprah and Stedman as the example because Oprah is a billionaire and Stedman may be like a millionaire or something. You know what I mean? So he used that as an example and saying, like, don't make it only about money. If the man is a good man, if he's honest, if he's integral, if he's faithful, if he protects you, he got your back, and he's secure in himself as a man, meaning he can let you thrive, it is okay to give him a chance, is what I gathered from what he said. I did not feel like he said all women, especially, but I'll speak especially to Black women, right? Because he's a Black man. So I guess he felt more connected to speaking to us directly. So I think for me, I feel like Tyler Perry is a billionaire. Okay, first of all. So I don't really even think he is not a Black woman. He's a Black man. And he's in a situation where he is a billionaire. He's in a situation where, I mean, he could probably pretty much have whoever he wants, if we're being honest, because of his access to money and status and et cetera, et cetera. So I feel like what I gathered that is that he's saying, look at the quality of the man that you are with. And you have to know your own values. You have to know your own preferences, right? If you are a woman where you're like, I need a provider, I need a protector, that is what I want. My advice is always to open up your dating preferences to other ethnicities and races of men besides Black men. Not saying that there are not successful Black men, but that there are other men that you could also entertain. Like, open up your preferences. That's my perspective on what he said. But he's saying don't make it just about money, because there are some men with money who are providers, who are controlling, who are arrogant, who are cheaters, who are not good men, who are not good people. They're not good to women. They're not respectful to women. They just be cheating, having babies all over the place because they have that money. So I think it's important to, eat the meat, spit out the bones for what you need from this conversation, right? I think that it's important that we understand what we need in a relationship. And a lot of what our necessities are, it really goes back to God. It really goes back to what God is saying to you about what you may need in that person. I do believe comparison is the thief of joy, and there is a lot of people on social media that they have these lavish lifestyles. Everybody went, oh, I want my husband to be like this. I want to be a stay-at-home mom. I want to do the things. I want to do this. I want to do that. So I definitely understand that there's a lot of opinions and things that, is going on, in the Black community. As a Black woman, if you didn't already know that, I am also a Black woman. So for me, I get wanting the luxury, and kind of wanting someone to provide and protect and, give you the things that you deserve. So I definitely don't feel like anybody should settle for less. I think that there are men out there that line up, that have money, that have status, and are also respectful, also gentlemen, also loves their mom and loves women and have a respect for women. But I think what I gather from what he's saying is don't only focus on money. There's more to it than money. You want someone who's a good person. You want someone, he's like, oh, maybe you have it financially. And because, let's be honest, in our community, Black women are killing it. I mean, we are out working, we are out, out educating Black men, we are out earning Black men by far. Like, they're nowhere close. So if we're being honest, we know that obviously there needs to be some things, there needs to be some help going on, within the community and concerns of Black men. But if your desire is for a Black man, he's saying the reality of it is that a lot of them are not as successful as Black women. Now that's a bigger issue. Okay, that's a whole nother podcast episode. That's a whole nother conversation. I just want to focus on what he said, and what I gathered from it is something that is like, I don't believe you should settle for less. If you know that that's what you desire, you wait on what you desire. Open up your preferences. As far as if you want a Black man, an Asian man, a white man, just open them up so you could be more open to finding what you're looking for. Um, I think that we have to, as Black women, know what it is that you need from the person and what those necessities are, and being okay what that person meeting certain needs that you have, or um certain love language that you have in the relationship. So for example, if you are a high maintenance woman and you desire a man that can take care of your lifestyle, certain guys are not going to be in the caliber of men that you need, because you are high maintenance and you know that it takes a lot to look like the way you do. So obviously you're not going to go for someone who's just, and maybe somebody who is working and only making $50,000 a year, right? You may want to go for somebody who's making $450,000 a year, 500,000 or 350 or up there, where you can maintain your lifestyle and be with this person, right? So I just feel like in these situations, I think you have to evaluate what works for you. I don't think this is a one size fits all kind of advice. I think this is just, his opinion of what he thinks. But I think you, as a woman or a woman of color or whatever woman you are, figure out what your preferences are and what's your non-negotiables, and stand 10 toes down in that. You know what I mean? So you could kind of know what it is that you actually desire, from that man or that person that you desire to be with. There are women that are bosses out there and okay with a man not earning as much as them. There are a lot of men out there women out there like that. And there are a lot of men that may be confident in that role of being a stay-at-home dad, taking care of the kids while conquer the world. One of my perspectives of this, though, has always been that, and I don't want to speak this because, God willing, you get pregnant, you have a healthy pregnancy, is no issues. But because the woman can conceive children and the man can't, when she does get pregnant, if she is the sole provider, if there are complications, God forbid, what will y'all do for money? That's my biggest question, because women actually carry the child, give birth to the child. And, as a Black woman, giving birth to a child in America is already a lot that comes with it. So just imagining that household of her earning, being such a high earner, and then having to take 2-3 years off, or a year off, at least a year and change off, to really recoup and recover from giving birth. I think that that's something to be discussed within the relationship, if you are considering and okay with a man not making as much as you. I mean, if you're making 80, 90, $100,000, there's a lot of men out there, I believe, that earn that much. But I also believe, like, the really high earning women that's making 1 million a year, that's a big CEO, it's not always easy to find the caliber of man that you may be looking at in the Black community. So I rebuttal what he's saying and just would say, go to the places those men frequent. If you are looking for someone who's high earning like you are, and you are a woman that makes 500,000 or 1 million a year or 2 million or 5 million or whatever, and you are a millionaire, go those places to rub elbows with those type of men and those caliber of men that you really desire to be with. Now, if you are okay with a man making less than you, then y'all figure out what those gender roles look like, if there are gender roles, and what it looks like with children, and what it looks like with family, and how does that household run. Those are conversations you can have with that man. So that's basically my 2 cents. Some people said, oh, well, Black men always telling Black women what to do. And, I agree. I agree. There's a lot of Black men that got a lot of opinions about what Black women need to be doing. But I also feel like sometimes, with certain instances, I understood what he meant from my perspective, just saying, like, don't only look for finances, look for other qualities as well. And how he knew some women who out earned their husbands by far, but the man would treat them with such respect and love that it worked for them. So you got to do what works for you. That's basically my advice. Do what works for you. If you know you desire a man who is a good man, a faithful man, a godly man, or a man that's a Christian, or a man that's whatever, and those are the qualities that you desire, then use those. But if you find that you are in a place where you are okay out earning this man, then you visit what that conversation looks like. So that's what I think. As a Black woman, as a woman of color, I didn't really take offense to it like a lot of people did. I don't know why. I just didn't get the same feeling. I kind of felt like, what he was saying. I was like, okay, I understand what you mean. Just being wise in the caliber of men that you're looking at and knowing what that looks like. So that's my 2 cents on the Kirk Franklin and Tyler Perry thing. I want to see what you guys have to say below. Like, comment, and share this post. I look forward to chatting with you guys in the comments. Bye.